Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Konrad Gorlinski and this is the news. Well, Poland today accused Belarus of trucking hundreds of migrants back to the border again, only hours after clearing camps at the frontier. Belarusian border guards led a group of 500 migrants toward the Polish border, who then attacked Polish border guards and soldiers with rocks, green lasers, and pepper spray. 4 Polish soldiers were injured in the attack, but all migrants were successfully repelled. The accusation by Poland suggests an apparent change of tactics this week by Minsk. The country has not resolved the border crisis, which has now spiraled into a major east-west confrontation. Polish border guard spokesperson Anna Michalska said Belarus authorities had brought in a group of hundreds of people by bus to try to cross close to the Polish village of Dubicze Cerkiewne. Yesterday, there were 255 attempts to illegally cross the Polish border from Belarus. 45 migrants were given expulsion orders and banned from entering Poland and the area for a period of 3 years. In November, we've had 6,300 such attempts. In total, 35,400 from the beginning of 2021. The spokesperson also stated that the Belarusian border guards were assisting the migrants by blinding Polish officers with lasers. Near Dubicze Cerkiewne, a group of 500 people that initially counted around 100, but later more people were brought in by buses, so the group grew to around 500 individuals. That group tried to cross the border supported by the Belarusian officers who blinded the Polish border guards with lasers. Also, someone used tear gas against the Polish officers. Some members of the group threw a wooden log across the barbed wire fence, but our officers removed the log and pushed them away. Later, some of the migrants were carried away by the Belarusian trucks, and the rest of them, around 400 people, withdrew into the Belarusian territory. We observed them as they walked along the barbed wire for some time until they disappeared. Belarusian authorities cleared the main camps on Thursday, where thousands of people had been huddling by the Polish border. Hundreds of Iraqis were also sent home on the first repatriation flight from Minsk in months. Ukraine's Interior Minister Denis Monastersky has stated that the country must set aside money in next year's budget to build a more than 2,500-kilometer fence on its borders with Belarus and Russia to prevent a possible influx of illegal migrants. The minister states that the military will also start exercises that will give the army new capabilities to deal with such a threat. The Interior Minister said Ukraine planned new military exercises in the next 2 weeks to prepare in case migrants tried to cross the border illegally. Ukraine is weary of becoming a new flashpoint in the migrant crisis on Belarus's borders with the European Union, which Kiev accuses Russia of instigating. The important thing, we must understand that the construction of a proper state border of Ukraine along its entire length with the Russian Federation, the aggressor country, and the Republic of Belarus is a reliable counter to this aggression. Of course, we cannot construct a state border while having only the will. We must clearly determine and allocate necessary funds for the construction of the state border in the 2 critical areas, the border with the Russian Federation and the border with the Republic of Belarus, in the next year's state budget. Ukraine on Thursday said it had intercepted a group of 15 people from the Middle East who tried to enter from Belarus, the first such incident since the migrant crisis escalated. We don't rule out that Russia may intentionally send a large number of illegal migrants through Belarus to our territory. We're preparing thoroughly for such a situation. We're building a response system to the challenges. We're consolidating state institutions, civil society, and the international community. Ukraine has deployed 15 helicopters, 2 planes, and 44 drones to its borders in response to the crisis, in which the EU accuses Belarus of flying in migrants and pushing them to cross borders illegally into Poland and Lithuania. Earlier this week, the parliament authorized Ukrainian border guards to use military equipment and firearms. And the phenomenon of mass immigration is causing problems across the ocean as well. More than 1,000 migrants have gathered in the southern Mexican state of Chiapas near the border with Guatemala to advance toward the U.S. as part of a new migrant caravan. The news came as the Biden administration is engaging in dialogue with its southern neighbors about how to limit migration flows. Leading the caravan as it moved out of the Tapachula municipality, where part of the group had waited for months, was human rights activist and longtime migrant advocate Luis Rey Garcia. We want a signed document proving that the cards the Mexican government are offering to regulate the status of migrants are valid throughout the entire country of Mexico, without any condition at all, said Garcia about Mexico's National Institute of Migration program that's there to regulate migrant status. Since late October, Mexican authorities have been issuing humanitarian visitor cards to underage migrants, pregnant women, and their families. At least 1,574 such cards have been issued to members of the last caravan that left Tapachula on October 23rd. The new caravan comes as leaders of the United States, Mexico, and Canada were holding talks around issues that included measures to contain migration. Finally, Austria has become the first EU state to take the decision to return to a full lockdown. In a last-minute change of heart, the government decided that the measure will apply to both the vaccinated and the unvaccinated. Austria will also become the first EU state to introduce mandatory vaccinations. Last Monday, Austria initially introduced a lockdown that would apply only for those who are not fully vaccinated, but the measure was met with mass protest and non-compliance. Since then, infections have allegedly continued to set new records. A nationwide lockdown will apply from Monday for a maximum of 20 days, which will be evaluated after 10 days. It will automatically end on December 13th at the latest. From this date, December 13th, there will no longer be a lockdown for those who were vaccinated or recovered. Austria's reported infections are currently among the highest on the continent, with a 7-day incidence of 991 per 100,000 people. Roughly 2/3 of Austria's population is fully vaccinated. We've decided to make vaccinations compulsory across the country very quickly. This is planned to apply from February 1st, 2022, substantially increasing vaccination rates. And I think we all agree on this is our only way out of this vicious circle of virus waves and lockdown discussions once and for all. We don't want a 5th wave, we don't want a 6th and 7th wave. Much of the public is skeptical about compulsory vaccinations, a view encouraged by the Austrian Freedom Party, the 3rd largest in parliament. It's planning another protest against coronavirus restrictions on Saturday. And that's all for this evening. Thanks for tuning in as usual. Please stick around for Poland Daily Weather, Poland Daily Business, and other programs. But from me, it's have a wonderful weekend.